Happy WrestleMania weekend, fans. We are back live on thehannibaltv.com. My name is Jack Kilby, Executive Vice President of Great North Wrestling. And today I have with me the man who coordinates a lot of the on-air interviews that you see here on the Hannibal TV, specifically the ones that I do, and does some work, of course, with our friend over in Ireland, Morris Shorthall, who's in Amsterdam this weekend, I understand, for GP Productions. I would be talking about none other than Jake Walker. Jake, how are you today, sir?
I am good, and everyone, happy Mania weekend. What a time to be alive, eh?
Yeah. Before we do just a quick little brush over on the events of last night, we're here to do a review of the much talked about WWE 2K24 video game that you purchased and have been. We're actually going to do this review a couple of times, but fortunately for us, you found more and more in the game that is worthy of discussion. So I think it's great that it worked out that we're doing it now. But you have been a fan of the business for a very long time, seen probably all the WrestleManias, and the hype for this one certainly was up there with some of the more successful ones of all time. Of course, night one happened last night. What were your thoughts on the show overall?
I thought it was good. The only thing, I'm sorry, that's my son. You just have to forgive me.
All right.
So the only thing that he's saying hello.
Hey man.
So anyway, sorry. The only thing that I have to say is that there were way too many tag team matches. That's the only bad thing that I have to say about that. Other than that, I think that it was put together awesome. It was the showcase of the Immortals, and I'm looking forward to what's going to happen tonight.
Yeah, I thought overall it was very entertaining, and for some reason I watched the pre-show stuff too, and had a lot of time down there by the time the main event ran around. And the main event I thought was interesting in a number of ways. I think they made the right creative decision to go with the Bloodline winning. I thought it could have been a little tighter in terms of time frame. I heard it ran about 41 minutes.
It did.
And one of the interesting points of that was the fact that, like, right off the top, they threw out the rule book, it seemed. So it seemed in a way it was Bloodline rules when The Rock said to the referee, "The Rock don't F around. If you count outside, you're all going to be fired, or you'll be fired, whatever." And it involved a big piece of the match was outside. When it came back in, and anything was going. When it came back in, I thought it really picked up. But what are your predictions for tonight with the big main event of Cody against Roman, I guess, in new Bloodline rules, whatever that means? We'll have to see.
Is that might be something like Ravens rules, hey? Anything goes. I mean, yeah. So what I think, and I mean, I want Roman to win, but I think they'll give the strap to Cody.
Uncle
Jack. I mean, we're live.
Probably.
We're live, so. I honestly believe that they will give okay, Jackson, just hold on. I'm so sorry. I'm doing a live with Uncle Jack here. So yeah, I honestly believe that Cody will go over tonight. And I was looking at the other matches on the card too, and you have your Jake Paul and you're in the triple threat there. I don't know, for some reason I think he's going to retain.
But Uncle Jack.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I really believe that since okay, I am so sorry, Jack.
The interesting part about last night for me was the fact that Sami Zayn beat Gunther for the IC title, and that would seem to be a bit of a shock, at least from where I sat. And then upon thinking about it, though, they probably have big plans for Gunther, and he could be one of the initial challengers to Cody when and if he wins tonight. But we'll have to see how that goes.
Yeah, exactly. I truly believe that Cody will finish his story.
In terms of the history of wrestling video games,
yes,
in general, you're also a very well-versed person in video games in general.
I am.
Do you harken back to the days of wrestling on the Nintendo Entertainment System?
Yes.
There he is. In terms of the entertainment system, and moving all the way up to what seemed to be a very well-regarded franchise to this day, that being the WWF WrestleFest. When did you first start playing wrestling video games, and which stand out in your mind from the past?
So the first game that I played, I think, was WrestleMania on the the NES. So that was the one with Hogan, and you had your choice of, I think, 6 people, and one being you. But later on, I actually went back and played, I believe it was the first WWF game, which was, it was WWF something, and it was on like Commodore 64 or something like that. And it was, yeah, man, it was really, no, okay, I'll send that over to you. But yeah, you would type in what you want to do, and it would be Hogan against Savage, I believe, was one of them.
Oh, now I do remember what you're saying. And there were like cut scenes that were somehow digitized, and you weren't actually controlling the movement, but depending on your choices, you saw the moves.
That's the one, yeah.
Yes. And some of the footage was taken from the big event in Toronto when Hogan faced Paul Orndorff, right?
That's the one, yeah.
Yeah, I do remember that one quite well. I had it, of course. That was fun.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's my history with it. And then as I got older, I played like the Superstars and like on the Game Boy, like the first Game Boy and stuff like that. And I think I've played like every wrestling game there is. So,
Why do you think so many fans have continued to this day to have such a an affection for WrestleFest?
Oh, because of it's pretty simple if you think about it. It's like you only have a couple buttons. It's fun, and therefore you can have like up to 4 players, and you get along with some friends, and it's a good time, man.
Well, let's talk about the history of this franchise to your understanding. The WWF had a different licensee beforehand, and then it went to 2K. Can you just give the fans a brief synopsis of that process?
All right, it's a pretty long one, but I'll keep it very brief. So Super Nintendo, Sega Genesis, that would be LJN. LJN, of course, had the wrestling figures back in the day too. And then so in that as well, Midway stepped in with Super WrestleMania, again on those systems. And then after Super WrestleMania, I want to say that that went over to PlayStation 1. So it was Super WrestleMania, and then In Your House under Midway, Acclaim. And then, your War Zones, your Attitudes, also with Midway, Acclaim there. And then we went into THQ, which, No Mercy, your World Tours, whatnot. And then after that, all your SmackDown versus Raw games, THQ, and then to where we are today with 2K.
What was the little bit of controversy with the release a couple of years ago that resulted in you'd indicated it was a bit of a pause on further releases? Can you explain that?
Yeah, so 2K19 was awesome. It had everything going for it. They had the Ric Flair Woo edition, which was like your Ric Flairs, your Dusty Rhodes, your Starcade 87s. And then came a game called 2K20, which was a complete stinker. So many glitches. Your online play was just horrific. So then they put a pause for a year on the 2K. And actually, in that year, too, they came out with Battlegrounds, which was a cartoony kind of kiddish wrestling game. I don't know if you've ever heard of that one.
No.
Yeah. Okay. So they put out Battlegrounds, and then so they took that year, and then 2K22 came out, and it was fully polished, and it was the 2K games that we come to know and love today.
What do you know about some of the criticism? Just being a guy that doesn't play them anymore, but am familiar with the 2K franchise getting a lot of heat for repetitive nature of the releases.
It's like there is a lot of repeat. There's a lot of wash, repeat. Some for the good, some for the bad too. I mean, they do tweak the controls sometimes. They do add like little mini games. Like we'll get into that for this year's because they added this little mini game. But for the most part, it's been the same kind of format year in, year out.
And some also say that the cost is how much did this one cost? And it seems that they keep building in costs, and it's high to begin with, and then boom, boom, boom. If you want expansion packs, da da da.
Yes. So I'll go on record and say I spent $170 Canadian.
Wow.
Yeah, for this WrestleMania 40 pack. But I mean, the good thing in that is that I'll continue to get the DLCs throughout the year, which is nice. But it's still $170. It's a bit steep.
Yeah, I would say so for sure. I remember back in the day when the good old cartridge would cost $35, $40, if that.
Yeah.
When you were last on with myself and we did a review, it was the AEW Fight Forever game, which I guess is considered not a lot of return on what is a monumental investment. When I was at AEW live events in Ottawa and Toronto this past month, March, they were still plugging downloadable characters, and Swerve, very hot guy right now for that company, was involved in doing some promotion. How would you compare? I mean, it's probably not a fair comparison considering it was their first outing, but did they not use the No Mercy generator and or engine or whatever, and spend an awful lot of time in development for what you got?
Yeah. So what I'll say is that yes, they used that engine, but that was pretty much the only good part of that game. Some of the character models even too, like, again, this is such an unfair comparison because you see guys on like 2K games that make better characters that are on AEW, which is sad, but it is what it is. The story mode they tried, and I mean, but if you play the one story mode once through, that's it. It's the same for everybody. Which
Really,
my experience anyway. I mean, they might have added one or two things for a character if you're like a champion or something, but other than that, I didn't see a lot of different paths that you could take. So,
well, it seems that given the amount of time that they spent developing it, I heard I won't even repeat because I've sort of forgotten, but I heard the development budget was through the absolute roof. Not that matters to Tony Khan, but when you were playing it last year when we did the review, you were saying that the multiplayer online function was pretty dead then. Have you been on it lately?
No. The last time, and I'll say this, the last time I played was probably when you and I did that review. But even then, like when it was hot, I didn't see like anybody online. I don't know. Maybe that was the day or whatnot, but I tried a couple times and it wasn't good.
Well, let's talk about before I know you've got a pretty balanced critique here.
I do. Yeah.
So why don't we start by showing us a couple of the graphics here?
Yeah.
No apparent order, but in terms of the pros, it's a pretty sharp looking game. In terms of how it looks. There's 13 with that iconic Brett versus Stone Cold encounter. There's the title screen. Got some in-ring action there. Wow, I mean, right down to the are those turnbuckles? Well, I thought they said WWF, but they're the new school ones.
They are, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oops. Very believed went to the Steiners there. But in terms of pros, what you're highlighting to start with, obviously the entrances you were impressed with.
Oh yeah, I mean that's pretty across the board for 2K. They're pretty dead on when it comes to entrances. I know that when it comes to John Cena, it even has down to where he says, "Come on, let's go to whatever that guy's name is," and the camera guy. So they're pretty dead on when it comes to entrances. Yeah.
What about in comparison to say previous years? Have there been any? Because I was always impressed with the level of detail that they paid to that. Have there been any movements forward in that, or is it still just pretty much high quality?
I would say it's pretty much high quality. And just to say too, and I've been playing this for a while now, I haven't really come across any glitches, which is something. And I mean, yeah, so not many glitches.
Weren't there some in the AEW game where dudes were popping out of the ring like the Undertaker and that sort of thing? Like a lot of glitches.
There were quite a few, yeah. And it actually crashed. It crashed my system a few times.
Oh wow. Okay. Well, let's talk about some of the playable characters and the expansions that you're able to do. I'll throw this one up. I've always loved this era of the Steiner brothers. Well, actually WCW, but here you've got Rick against Scott, and that looks like good old Braun Breaker in the back at the PC.
That's right, man. Yeah, this was cool because last year Rick and Scott were DLC, but this year they're just included in the game. So that was a nice little thing to come across for this year.
So how many characters of the so-called golden, the classic era, and then the attitude era, ruthless aggression, etc. How many of those do you think those eras are well represented? I guess the best way to ask the question.
I mean, yes. Like the golden era, they included George Steele there, which was I wasn't expecting that. Of course, with the whole Miss Elizabeth, Randy Savage thing, so that was in there. Bruno Sammartino's in there too.
Right on.
Who else? And I mean, so Attitude Era, you got your Stone Cold, you got your Rock, and they've included like their attires from back then. You got your Shawn Michaels New Generation, so like 94. So yes, it's pretty balanced. And also they included the Bret Hart in 1992 with that sweet leather jacket. So yeah, very well represented. Yeah.
Are there any glaring omissions in terms of characters that you can think of?
Not off the top of my head, man. No.
Wow. Well, then it must be pretty complete then.
It is, but then again, I have seen some screenshots, not myself, but I've seen like Bailey looks funny, I guess. But yeah, I mean, they say I saw some like with her eyes being like cross-eyed or something like that, but that hasn't come across for me at all. So yeah, like look right there, she doesn't look that bad.
No.
So
even this, I mean, that's passable.
Right? Exactly.
Luna's bang on though.
So that was a community creation.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, someone made that. So that's what I'm saying. Like the community creation suite is amazing for these things.
And is that a rather has that been limited in the past, or is the community creation deal just getting better?
I truly believe it's getting better. They just introduced, I don't know if it was last year or the year before, but you were able to import pictures of the superstars to put on those screens. So it's just getting better, and it's gonna keep getting better. So
look at the turnbuckle there, WWF.
Oh yeah, hey. So I'll tell you, that's another community creation.
Okay.
That's the WrestleMania 9 one. So that wasn't included. Just saying.
Yeah, I was surprised at that, given the trademark issues that they've had, which resulted in the name change in the first place. But
yeah,
okay, cool. What about the new match types that you've been talking about? The ambulance, casket match, and special referee.
Yeah, sorry I didn't get any screenshots of that, but
Okay.
okay. So yes, the casket match. It's pretty cool. The first time I played it, it was really hard. I don't know. I was mashing on the buttons like crazy to try and get the thing down. But I mean, it's fun. You just have to really beat up your opponent. So I mean, it makes sense in that aspect. You want to beat them until they can't do anything else, right? So really, really awesome. And the way that they bring out the casket as well. You have referees pushing it down to ringside, and it's really neat. So same thing goes for ambulance match, really. It's the same sort of deal. The ambulance backs up, and then you can crawl up onto the ambulance as well and throw your opponent off of it, which is really neat. You can jump off of it as well. And then the special guest referee is amazing. Like you can either play to the rules, or you can be a bad guy and totally turn against the guy. But you got to be careful, because if you do too much of that, you'll actually get ejected. Like, I don't know if you remember when Laurinaitis used to come out and say, like, this has to stop. Here's a proper referee. Then you'd send the proper referee down. That'll happen here too. Yeah.
Is Vince McMahon in the game still?
No.
Oh, interesting. Lesnar?
No.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
No. I heard something or thought I read something along the lines that they were going to put Brock back in it, but
you did. Yeah, you did, because I remember that too.
And that hasn't occurred yet.
I haven't seen it, man. Nope.
What about since we're talking about special functions? What about the preponderance of downloadable extras? We were talking about that the other day. Can you lay that out for the fans, and how that's structured tier wise and depending on your purchase?
Sure. So there's a lot of purchasable stuff, man. Like a lot. You have your VC, which is virtual currency, and you can use that towards purchasing guys if you haven't got those packs yet. Or you can use those for also getting stuff in something called My Faction, which it's like a card-based wrestling. You have cards and you play. But anyway, so the tiers are DLC. Each month you get 4 or 5 different characters to download in a pack. And they range, I think it's like $20 to maybe $30. I'm not too sure on that. But if you buy the whole 170, then you get those regardless. So
gotcha.
Yeah.
Can you talk about the 40 years of WrestleMania showcase mode? I that was something that interests me when you mentioned it.
Yeah, interests me too, man. It's good, but it's not complete. They don't include every WrestleMania, which is sad. When I think 40 years of WrestleMania, I think WrestleMania 1 to WrestleMania 40, but even to have one match from each would be nice, but they haven't done
Any
that.
reason why that was that omission occurred?
The only thing I can think of is, like, I guess costs, or maybe licensing, as far as guys that aren't there anymore. I don't know.
One of the pros that you're talking about is there's good blood, and when wrestling an individual with face paint, it comes off during the match.
Yeah, that's nice. So the blood stays on the canvas, which is great. I've wanted that for years now, and they finally did it. And then, yeah, the face paint, like, if you're having a 20-minute match or whatever, it actually peels off the guy's face, and when he's victorious, you could see it's gone. So it's really nice.
That adds to the realism. What do you mean by the what do you find great about the creation suite?
Oh, just how many things there are in it, and just what exactly you can do. Like, you could make anybody on there, and, like, quite easily too. You're not limited to really anything. The only things that won't be allowed on there would be, like, your profanity and stuff like that. They're pretty on that for
I think I lost your volume, man. I think I lost your volume. Maybe you got a call. That's usually what happens. We'll just kick you out for a second and have you come back. That is unfortunately what happens when doing an interview on your iPhone. But I want to take an opportunity to perhaps plug the fact that Great North Wrestling is returning to Napanee, Ontario, after a very long absence, with the Napanee Schools Out Slam tickets. No problem. That happens, man.
Yeah.
Tickets are available now at ticketweb.ca. And this week, early in this week, we're going to be releasing the official poster for the event. So very excited about that, which will run down the card in its entirety in the weeks to come. Lots of good stuff planned for that event. But can you talk about, Jake, the My Faction mode?
Yeah, so that's not really a mode that I play, honestly. I've tried it a few times here. You get a set of cards at the beginning. It's like your roster that you play with, and then you go up against other people's decks of cards, and it's progression that way, and things you can unlock things on there that you can't in the regular game itself. So, I mean, if that's your thing, cool, but it's not my thing.
Gotcha. The only faction that I really think is over today is this one, the big money players.
Yeah.
Because scared money don't make money. But we'll talk about big money players later. This is a video game review after all. In terms of gameplay, you were talking about how it's easy to play, and that's a big draw. I know when I've tried to play some first person fighters or whatever you want to get into, the frustration with it just comes from how difficult it is to execute moves. This isn't the case here, right?
No, it's fairly easy. And the thing too that they've done within, I don't know, I want to say the last 10 years or whatever, is they actually have like a training mode to get you prepared for the new controls if they have any. But if you know what you're doing, you don't need to go through that, obviously.
Perfect. Well, lots of pros. Let's talk about some of the cons.
Yeah.
You already touched on not all WrestleManias are represented, and when you think that's one of the key selling points of the game, that's a little bit of a disappointment. I was surprised when you told me that. What did you mean by key personalities are not featured?
Yeah, so you have some blurred out faces. Like, I mean, McMahon obviously can't be there, so that's acceptable. You don't have Ross or Lawler for commentary. You don't have Ventura or anything like that. So, yeah, key personalities.
Wonder why Jerry Lawler's commentary was omitted. He's still in good
Yeah.
stead with the company. That doesn't make sense.
No, makes zero sense. Hey, Jack, can you just give me one more second? Just
Sure, no problem. I'll go into the once again while we have a minute or two the fact that we're going to have our first show of this season for Great North Wrestling in Napanee on June 29th, but I have a date and a location confirmed for the second show for Great North Wrestling this season that I will be announcing soon. We've got a lot planned for both shows. For June the 29th, we're going to be having WCW WWF legend Pretty Paul Roma, in to do a meet and greet and possibly a Q&A with the fans. He will be, of course, there supporting his good friend, WWF's. He was really an omnipresent figure on television and house shows for about 9 years in the WWF, and that's Mario Mancini, who fans of the Hannibal TV know because of his interviews. He also does the Mario Mancini show over on Cheap Heat Productions. He will be there wrestling his final match forever with his students from the Paradise Alley Pro Wrestling Training Center in Connecticut. A lot of talent coming up. We're pleased to be starting a relationship with them. And of course, Rene Dupree, the multi-time WWE Tag Team Champion, he is going to be in one of the co-main events, that being against my hired gun, the prodigy, Nathan Banner, who, if Rene does not beat Nathan Banner, he will also not ever receive a Canadian title match again against the champion Magnum McLaren of the Big Money Players, but he will be out of Great North Wrestling for good. And for those of you that know over the 16-year history how much of a presence Rene Dupree has had in Great North Wrestling, will know that that would be a significant event historically. But I'm also on record as predicting that not only will Nathan Banner destroy Rene Dupree and eliminate him from Great North Wrestling, I'm predicting that he is going to eliminate Rene Dupree from professional wrestling for good. And I'm not ashamed to mention that I paid Nathan Banner very handsomely in advance to do this job because of what he did to me, smashing me in the head with a briefcase, concussing me. You don't do that to me. You don't do that to the executive vice president of Great North Wrestling. So I'm going to really look forward to that one. And if you haven't seen the work of Nathan Banner, the prodigy, do yourself a favor. It's on YouTube. Search it up and you'll see exactly why I'm so pleased. At 6'4" and 300 pounds, Rene, I'm not going to take anything away from him. He looks like $1 million. He's got that pedigree of his family, his multi-time tag team run in WWE, but he's really miscalculated here, and he's going to pay for it. So once again, tickets are on sale at ticketweb.ca for that. So great fans of Great North Wrestling, please stay tuned and continue to support our restart after a successful year last year following COVID. But back to, we had talked about missing commentary, Jake. Some matches are not historically correct. What do you mean by that?
Yeah, so when I was playing through the WrestleMania 3 with Hogan, Andre, very odd how they show when they're on the outside. Hogan exposes the concrete, and he's gonna do his pile driver or whatever he's gonna do, but then Andre flips him. So when you go back to gameplay, the mat is back to normal and it's not concrete anymore. That was just something that kind of threw me for a loop there because I was like, didn't we just see that on the video that it was exposed, but now it's back? Just odd stuff like that, man. Just stuff that they could have.
Minor details in the greater
I
scheme.
know, but it's historical. So.
At least nobody's coming disembodied through the mat at times, like the AEW game.
Yeah.
What do you mean by the lack of commentary for showcase mode?
Yeah, like they'll say things, but it's not the commentary that you and I remember, and like that comes back to Lawler and Ross and things like that. Yeah, they keep missing the boat when it comes to stuff like that because these modern guys don't do the classic ones justice.
Well, and I think when Vince was still around, into the Michael Cole era and Corey Graves, etc., they were actively told not to call the moves in the ring. And I did notice last night, WrestleMania Night 1, they certainly were doing that. So I think that'll be a positive moving forward. It just goes to what I think the focus under TKO will be for WWE, which is a sports-based presentation, and hard to get a sports-based presentation when you're not calling what's happening in the ring. So
exactly.
So just a few cons overall in terms of price and value for the money, playability, enjoyment. Oh, wanted to ask you, I almost forgot. What about the multiplayer deals online?
There's always someone playing. You won't wait long. You'll always get on. Someone's playing, which is nice.
Any frustrations with that, or?
Not really. I don't have anything to say about that. I mean, aside from, each person has different bandwidth or whatever, but other than that, no, it's a plus. So it's good.
Cool. So overall, thumbs up, thumbs down. I'm taking it's a thumbs up. What would you give it out of 10?
Go an 8. Do an 8 out of 10 on this one. Yeah, I like it. It's fun. I like going, getting the created guys and the created things and stuff like that, and just it's fun, man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Do you think the price is a little bit steep, but do you think ultimately you get good value out of that?
I do. I would say it was a 10, but that's why I gave it an 8 because of the price point.
Still, you've been playing it for what, a couple months now?
I have been. It came out. When did that come out? It came out last month, I think.
Okay, so you've been playing it pretty solid for a month. You're not not bored yet? Not bored yet?
You kind of broke up there.
Okay. You're not bored yet?
No, not yet. No.
Well, that says it all. You can sometimes rip through games in 3 days and put them aside. So the bottom line,
and I want to say, I wanted to say too, when it comes to like weapons and stuff like that, I didn't point on this, but weapons, they've included microphones, guitars now. They even had which was odd, was a Slim Jim stick.
Oh wow! Probably got some extra cash in the sponsorship there. So
absolutely.
You think in the final analysis, this game has got some staying power and it's not going to join Fight Forever in the delete bin?
Absolutely not. No.
Excellent. Well, I think we're going to encourage the fans to comment on their experiences there. Tyler here, as I put it up earlier, says he liked the game. It was the best in a while. Yeah. And the 2K22 was dog shit for those reasons that we discussed. So in the comments, we'll be interested to hear your perception of them. And last, before we wrap it up, Jake, are you in just on the edge of your seat for WrestleMania Night 2?
I am, and I'll watch it tonight. It should be good.
And you're predicting Cody beats Roman Reigns?
That's my prediction, but I want Reigns to win, but I don't think it'll happen.
Mm-hmm. Well, we'll have to see. We will know that shortly. I think overall the card last night was good. I'm gonna watch tonight too, and you could say that the spectacle. I find at times the entrances take a while, but there was some solid in-ring action there. So, final thoughts on the game, Jake.
Okay, so I'll do my final thoughts on the game, but then I just wanted to say one other thing on top of that. So final thoughts on the game is, 8 out of 10. It's very enjoyable. If you're a wrestling fan, you're going to like it. So the second thing I want to say was when it comes to Napany, don't want to mess with the big money players. Don't mess with this guy that I'm talking to, because you'll find out the hard way that, you'll get yours. So don't mess with this guy. Coming from a West Coast member,
especially when if you go back and look at the match, Rene Dupree against Magna McLaren, it's on YouTube. It's on. Search it up on the HannibalTV.com. You'll see that Rene. The reason I was on the apron, I'm trying to reason with this man. He had my briefcase. He was going to use it. I was telling him that's not sportsmanlike. You're a hero to the fans. You're someone who should be setting an example. And his response to that was to rear back and smash me in the head full on, busting the briefcase, which you can see on this channel too, the results of that. And it was just completely uncalled for. And I'm a reasonable person, but there's certain lines in the sand that you don't cross. And as I've been fond of saying recently, Rene, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. And that's not going to happen. Yeah, I hope you're getting all your bookings in, and you're really engaging in that career renaissance that you have going on, because June 29th in Napanee, Ontario, that's very well going to be your last event in pro wrestling. And you've got nobody to blame but yourself. But anyway, Jake, I want to thank you for doing this review. Appreciate it. And if there's any major developments in the game or whatnot, we'll do a brief update for the fans. And fans, I want to thank you for watching this review today on the HannibalTV.com. If you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button and make sure that you don't miss any of the content that we have coming for you. Until next time, take care, everybody.
Thank you for watching the Hannibal TV. Please help me out and like this video, then click the subscribe and get notifications buttons so you don't